Okay, let's get a couple of things straight before I even start this review. First of all, I'm not going to do the the whole introduction thing and all that because I just don't feel like doing that. Not after having read this. Uh, Second of all, this is a retro review. This book came out, I think, maybe 10, 12 years ago. I'm not sure how long ago it came out. I can look at the date of publication, 1993. It's been out a long time, okay? So this is a retro review. Third of all, there are going to be spoilers because concerning the subject matter that I'm going to be talking about that is contained within this book, I can't help but spoil it, all right? However, I will refrain from spoiling one part of the book that actually kind of threw me for a loop. Some people might say, "Well, I saw it coming all along," or I saw it come from a mile away or something like that. But that's not the case for me. That's not what happened. And then finally, this is not a horror novel. The name of the book is Uncle Vampire. It is not a horror novel. It's not a supernatural horror novel. It is not a horror novel, period. It is about a 16-year-old girl named Carolyn. She lives with her sister, Honey. She has an older sister, Maggie. Maggie has moved away. She's out of the house. She's going to college. She has her mom. She has her dad. She has her brother, Richie. And she's got her uncle, Toddy. And that's where things are bad. Uncle Toddy is molesting her and he is molesting Honey. He is coming into their room at night and he is sexually molesting them. Okay? Uh, and I will say this much for Carolyn. She's the narrator of the story. And throughout this book, I felt so sorry for this girl because, first of all, her sister is just in complete denial. Oh, no, he's not doing these things. Not at all. He's not doing this. Uncle Toddy would never do this kind of thing. Her parents, both her parents, her mother had a nervous breakdown. Her father, he's about to lose his job. He's about to lose his business. Her brother is withdrawn. Everybody in this girl's world has their heads so far. And pardon me, another thing I wanted to warn you about is that I'm going to use a little bit of vulgarity on this. I don't mean to, but it's just the way I feel right now. And, so I apologize in advance. But anyway, the people in her family have got their heads so far up their asses that they can't see what's going on with this Uncle Toddy and what he's doing to these girls. And she just doesn't know how to get it out. So what she does is to retreat from it. She imagines that Uncle Toddy is a vampire coming into her and Honey's room and sucking their blood. That's how she deals with it. And that's one of the things about this that absolutely made me angry, and I'll get around to that. First of all, let me go with Uncle Toddy. First of all, you're a grown man. Why are you named Uncle Toddy? Give me a break, you douchebag. Second of all, any time during the course of this book that he said, "Oh, when have I ever done anything to hurt you girls," or anything like that, this is where the vulgarity comes in. I literally felt like every time he said it, I felt like just nailing his dick and balls to a window frame and setting the house on fire. That's what I felt like whenever he would do this stuff. That's how angry I got. And then another thing about this is the title of the book itself and the reason why it's called Uncle Vampire. That angered me. When I was growing up, one of the things I loved was shock theater. I loved it. I mean, my heroes were Dracula, vampire. My heroes were Frankenstein monster, the Wolf Man. Those were my heroes. Those were I had the horror movie, the Universal Monster models and everything. I had all that stuff. I loved that stuff. That was my escape. That was my fantasy. And it was a safe, sweet fantasy. And for this child, this girl, I mean, she's 16, she's still a child, okay? For her to have to do that, to escape in that way, it just, man, it had my blood boiling throughout this entire book. And, excuse me, I'm losing my train of thought. I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I mean, just for her to have to do that, and, and yes, she finally does get help. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, there are going to be spoilers. She finally does get help. She goes to a counselor, a teacher, and she she can't get it out. She can't figure out how to say it, so she writes it down. And finally, the teacher says, is your uncle, what is he doing to you? And she says 3 words, and this is going to get really vulgar. And yes, like I said, this is kind of a spoiler, but the subject matter aside, it's not. She's like, what is he doing to you? I know, because she keeps saying, well, he's a vampire. She's like, he's not a vampire. What is he doing to you? And she says 3 words that just, to me, just set her free of this monster. He fucks us. That's what she says to this counselor. That's what gets her the help. And when I read that, I'm just like, finally, this girl is getting help. And like I said, these are, if you want to call these spoilers, I don't care. That's fine. That's all right, But like I said, there is one thing I'm not going to spoil. And you might, like I said, you might have seen it, if you've read the book, you might go, well, I saw it coming from a mile away. I don't care. Big deal. All right? So, and maybe this is not even a review of the book. I'll give you this much. I love the book. It disturbed the hell out of me, but I love the book. The writing in it, when I first started reading it and got into about 50 pages in, I started thinking, I said, oh man, the writing in this is really kind of disjointed. And then I got thinking about it. I'm thinking, this is told from a girl, the point of view of a girl, a 16-year-old girl, a child whose uncle is doing these things to her. Of course it's going to be disjointed, okay? So, yeah. As for a rating, I give it 5 stars, and I know some people go, we've been going on to play things 5 stars lately. This one deserves it, okay? Period. It deserves it, all right? And yeah, do I recommend this book? It's just like when I did the video for the 5 books that disturbed it out of me. No, I don't recommend it. And there have been a lot of people going, when I do a TBR and I go, well, I'm going to read this book, they go, yeah, most all the books sound pretty good, and I know what they're talking about. They're talking about, they don't want to read this book. So I took one for the team, I guess you could say, and I read the book. All right, that's it. So that's my retro review of Uncle Vampire. Disturbed the F out of me, or hey, like I said, I'm going to be vulgar. Disturbed the fuck out of me, okay? All right, 5 stars, Cynthia D. Grant, 1993. You could probably call it young adult. Although, like I said, there is the vulgarity in it. There's the one vulgar cuss word. So young adult to adult. All right. Anyway, that's my review. I'm really not used to reviewing books on a Saturday night, but I just got off work. I read this book in like one sitting, 2-3 hours. Yeah. So anyway, that's my review. Thank you for watching, and good night.